My name is Cody, and today we're going to be discussing removal and replacement of your input shaft. First thing we're going to do is remove our clutch brake, and then we will take off the input shaft bearing cover. Now that we've removed the 6 bolts from the cover, it should just slide right off your input shaft. And then what you're going to want to do is pull the input shaft out a little bit so you can get to that snap ring. And you'll take your snap ring pliers and then take that out. Once you get that snap ring out, the next thing you're going to do is get your input shaft bearing remover. Now how this is going to work is you're going to take this tube and slide it over your input shaft. Make sure it goes all the way down to where it meets with the bearing. And then you're going to take the 2 separate pieces and hook them into the lip of the bearing and onto that tube. And then you will place the ring around those to hold them in place. Once you have that in place, you will take your wrench and on the bolt on the back side, turn it clockwise and it will slowly pull the bearing out. Once you have removed the bearing, there will be an internal snap ring here that you will have to remove. Once you've gotten that snap ring out, your input shaft should just slide right out. Now we're going to go over on how to put your input shaft back in. First thing you're going to do is slide the input shaft back in, lining your teeth up so it'll actually go in there. And then you're going to take your snap ring and put it on. Once you actually have your snap ring on, you want to make sure that it is seated correctly so your input shaft won't fall out. And then you will put on your input shaft bearing. To do this, what you're going to do is you're going to take your bearing driver and slide it over your input shaft and get it in just far enough where you can put that external snap ring on. Once you've gotten the external snap ring on properly and seated, you're then going to drive that bearing the rest of the way down. The next thing we're going to do is put the cover plate back on. Now, you're going to want to make sure that this oil galley lines up with the oil hole on the housing right here. And one way to do this is Korea is usually stamped right above that, and that's in about the 4 o'clock position. And then you will put in your bolts. Once those are all tightened down to specifications, you will then put your clutch brake back on. You want to make sure that these flanges here, or tangs here, go in the grooves that go all the way down the input shaft, and just slide it on, and then you are done.